Got a new package. So in case you're interested in the packaging, you take out the box and you have this nice little chic, a really cool, sleek looking box. Inside of it, you'll have the unit itself in a very nice and protective packaging. And then you also get this little box, which I believe is just the cable for, yep, cable. So you get USB to power to use on the power supply, or and then you also have the USB-C cable as well. Get these foams out. Man, this is really nice build. It's like nice metal casing, which it's always appreciated. And let's look at the front of this unit. So as you can see here, focus. There we go. So looking at the front right here, it looks like we have two combo inputs where you can use XLR or a quarter-inch line. And then you have two gain knobs, one for each one of those inputs, two vintage buttons for each one of those. I'll touch base on vintage in a bit. Two instrument buttons in case you're plugging in an instrument. You can identify that there. You have 48 volt to power up some of your mics. And you have a direct monitoring button. So what this is, when you press it, and if it's on orange, it has the inputs panned left and right in stereo. But if it's in blue, then it's basically just right in the center in a mono signal. And then right here you have the monitor, a dial, the knob to control how much. And I like over here that you have the headphone jack and a dedicated headphone knob volume control as well, because I didn't have that in the Scarlett Solo. It was just one knob for both. So that's the front. Nice logo, like I said, very nice sleek design. And in the back right here we have the power button. Like I said, I love having the switch, and this is gonna come in handy when you're plugging this into an iPad, so you don't have to be draining the power from the iPad the whole time. You can actually turn it off when you're not using it. But then also the nice thing is you have this dedicated power, a 5 VDC, where you can use that other cable, plug it in into a USB, maybe power bank, or you can get a power adapter and use it there. Because at that point, if you do use this with iPad, you don't have to rely on the power from the iPad battery and draining that out really quickly. So you can have a separate power supply dedicated for just this. And then obviously you have the USB-C. This is how you're gonna plug it in into the iPad or your computer. And this is nice. You don't see a lot of audio interfaces actually include the MIDI input and outputs, especially at this price range. So it's kind of nice to see that here. And then I like for the monitors, you have the left and right, also quarter-inch TRS connections. All right, so to plug it in and get it set up with your Mac or your PC. So, I mean, I like that it came with this USB-C to regular USB, I think it's called USB-A cable, but I wish it actually came with a USB-C to USB-C, just because all the Macs nowadays have a USB-C port. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this cable. This is from my other device. So I'll go ahead and plug this here, and then plug it in there, power it on. We should be good to go. Just go ahead and click on Live, Preferences, and then in here we're gonna go with input device. It's gonna be the Volt 2, and then the output would be also Volt 2. All right, so and the next thing is we're gonna plug in the mic, the SM7B. And from what I've heard, you actually don't need a cloud lifter or any kind of inline preamp with the 7B and this audio interface. So let's give this a try and test the audio with and without the vintage button. Capture legendary vocals with vintage mic preamp mode. Few sounds can compare to a vintage Universal Audio 610 tube preamp, as used to record everyone from Ray Charles to Van Halen. Capture legendary vocals with vintage mic preamp mode. Few sounds can compare to a vintage Universal Audio 610 tube preamp, as used to record everyone from Ray Charles to Van Halen. So circling back to the vintage button is basically supposed to emulate the sound of a 610 universal audio preamp, which is an analog preamp. I wish I had one of those, but I don't. I would love to do a comparison between the two. I believe Podcastage did a video on this unit, and he actually does have the analog preamp that he can compare them both to. So definitely I'll link it up down in the description so you can go and check it out. If you look at the lineup of the Volt, you will see that there's the Volt 1 and 2, but then also there's the Volt 176 and Volt 276 and Volt 476. Now the 76, all what it is, it indicates that it has a built-in the 76 compressor, which is nice. You know, if you want to use it for any kind of recording that you do, the compressor is going to help balancing those lows and highs, and you have just that signal going straight into your DAW. So in addition to the 76 built-in compressor, you'll also notice that some of the aesthetic stuff has got a different kind of look. It has the nice kind of wooden look with the side wooden panels. I always love incorporating the wood with the hardware. Arturia does a lot of this stuff, and a slight shift in the buttons and the knobs. I like that actually the setup with the buttons on top, so you can kind of control them from the top. So why did I pick this instead of the 276? Honestly, one was the price. I feel like I'm getting a lot for $189 in here, and the extra stuff with the 76 compressor I can live without. I honestly kind of prefer getting a raw signal in, and I can do any kind of compression after the fact in post in the DAW. But you know, some people do like that option going in, and the aesthetics, yeah, it's nice, but it's not really like a need. So I feel like this right here definitely hits all the stuff that I need out of an audio interface. And unless you need, you know, more inputs, then you kind of have to go with the 476. But I feel like at that price range, there's a lot of other options out there that you can consider. So now let's take a look at the software bundle that comes with the Volt line. So it looks like first you get a 30-day trial of UAD Spark. A lot of people love UAD because they have their own plugins that you can actually load on the devices themselves, like the Apollos. Unfortunately, you can't do that here. That's why these have a kind of a lower price range. And but also, I mean, you can still try out those plugins for 30 days and then go from there. You also get a Marshall Plexi Classic Amp bundle by Softtube. You get Ableton Live 11 Lite. You get Melodyne Essential, Emperor SVT VR Classic Bass bundle by Plugin Alliance. You get the LX480 Essentials by Relab Development. You get the Virtual Drummer D by UJam. I'm actually excited to try that out. And then I thought it was kind of funny that it listed Labs by Spitfire Audio, because everybody can get Labs. It's free for everybody. You don't have to buy this device to get Labs. But anyways, I thought it was funny that they listed it in there. So I am really excited for this purchase. Happy about the fact that it just works straight off the bat with the SM7B. You can still use a inline preamp if you don't want to crank your gain all the way to 9, but I feel like it still sounds great even with the gain up that high. And also the fact that I can plug this into my iPad and do some production on the go. It's great, especially if you have one of the new iPads where they come with a USB-C port. But yeah, if you have any questions about this device, please don't hesitate to put them in the comments below. I am more than happy to answer your questions. And if you found this video helpful, share it with a friend, give it a like. And if you're new here, subscribe for more videos like this. Until next time, keep making music. Peace.